Welcome back to the channel, Warhammer Man back in the studio, and today we're going to take a look at the Imperial Knights and some of their new rules. So we already saw some of the Chaos Knight stuff and it was pretty cool, but now let's take a look at what the good guys are getting. Before we get started though, make sure to like and subscribe, share it with your friends. Subscribing to the channel and liking, sharing, commenting really helps to grow the channel and get the name out there. I really do appreciate it. It costs you absolutely nothing. We do put out videos every single day on Warhammer 40,000, Kill Team, Necromunda, Age of Sigmar, Warcry, some Horus Heresy, Underworlds, pretty much anything to do with tabletop gaming, primarily focused on GW. That being said, let's jump right in. Honorable Imperial Knights gain glorious benefits for following the code of Chivalric. Warhorns blare amid crackling warp storms and twisted flocks of terror shades amassing on the sticky horizon. Yes, the Chaos Knights army box is making its implacable advance, and noble pilots of the Imperial Knight House are twitching with righteous fury. Both factions will be getting their new codex soon. How can any warrior hope to take down a baleful machine bearing the favored dark gods, you ask? The only way to fight such a beast is through steel and honor. To that end, the new Codex Imperial Knights helps these valiant pilots draw upon the code Chivalric, a stringent set of martial codes they follow during battle. So here we see a pretty cool knight army set up here. And then we've got a little lone wolf over there as well. I like that backdrop too. These are cool. For a true scion of a knight world, victory only matters if the code is upheld. Even against the treacherous dread households, if every unit in your army has the Imperial Knights keyword, and they're all from the same household, or free blades, so that's what that separate knight is, a free blade, who come and go as they please, then when building your army, you must swear 2 different oaths, chosen from a pool of 4. Interesting. Each oath comes in 4 parts, a pledge, a troth, and 2 chivalric abilities. Fulfill your pledges and you'll earn honor points throughout the battle. You begin with 1 point, giving you access to honored abilities, but work your way up to 5 or 6 points, and your knight will gain powerful, virtuous abilities as their chivalry shines through. Alright, so we have an army honor table. So the number of honor points: 0 is disarm honored. That's your army's level of honor. 1 to 4 is honored. And then 5 to 6 is virtuous. Guard your virtue carefully, though. If you fail in your duties, you may commit a troth and lose precious honor points, even becoming dishonored and dropping your chivalric abilities entirely. So what sort of oaths can you swear? Take refuse, no challenge as an example. This oath is all about getting stuck in. You're pledged to destroy 2 or more enemy units with melee attacks each battle round. However, if you fall back from combat like a craven, the troth condition is activated and you lose an honor point. So oath, refuse, no challenge. The pledge is at the end of each battle round. If 2 or more enemy units have been destroyed by melee attacks made by Imperial Knights units from your army during that battle round, you gain 1 honor point. And the troth is, if an Imperial Knight unit from your army falls back during a battle round, at the end of the battle round you lose 1 honor point. Okay, so interesting. Honorable armies with this oath can use Noble Display, an honored ability which adds 1 to each hit roll for your knights make for melee attacks if they charged, are charged, performed heroic inventions this turn. It's perfect for putting down a rabid war dog carnivore in close combat. Once you've revved up these upgraded chain blades to cut through a swathe of foes, you'll qualify for the oath's virtuous ability. Mighty Display lets you reroll advance and charge rolls, ensuring you're not stranded after stomping on your enemies, and making it all the more likely your noble scions will end up in close quarters where they belong. Alright, so the honored ability is Noble Display. Each time this model makes a melee attack, if it made a charge move, or was charged, or performed a heroic intervention this turn, add 1 to the attack's hit roll. And then the virtuous ability is Mighty Display. You can reroll advance and charge rolls. Okay, so that's interesting. It's a cool little twist. Not every oath requires you to kill the enemy. Imperial Knights are the shield of the Imperium, sworn since ancient times to defend those unable to fend for themselves. After all, the peasants all get eaten by hungry aliens. who till the fields for you. It's pretty cool. Nice little like rubble pile. I love these like massive buildings in the background. Those who take on an oath to defend the realm must secure the imperial territories, and so pledge to control more objectives than the enemy. Conversely, the troth kicks in if you cede an objective, costing you an honor point if you end a turn with fewer objectives than you started with. This one could be tough. Hopefully the knights have some better objective securing rules then. So the pledge is, if at the end of your turn you control more objective markers than your opponent does, then at the end of the battle round, you gain an honor point. So at the end of your turn, you control more objectives than your opponent. So in most games, there's either 5 or 6 objectives. So if there's 6 objectives, you have to take one of your opponent's objectives during your turn and hold all yours. In a 5er, you kind of have to like secure the center objective and then hold your 2. That might not be that easy. And then the troth is, if at the end of your turn you control less objective markers than you did at the start of your turn, then at the end of the battle round you lose 1 honor point. So in a game with 6 objectives, and you're potentially having to control 4 of them at least at the end of your turn, you might only have, like, I don't know what the points are going to be or what the army composition is going to be, but if you're taking only big knights, you might only have 4 big knights. So you literally have to have one of them standing on each of 4 objectives. Well, really 3 objectives, and then, charging in or shooting your opponent off the last one to get onto it. So that could be really tough. I mean, this definitely, you're going to need some armigers for this. The oath is ideal for armies that pack in armigers, of course, to surge forward and take objectives before the enemy can mobilize. The honored ability here is duty and wisdom, which gives you an extra command point in each of your command phases to fuel your powerful strategies. Safeguard your objectives long enough, and you'll activate duty and honor, a virtuous ability that makes you even harder to dislodge by giving your whole army objective secured. Models that already have this ability, such as armigers, count as 3 extra models when determining control. Okay, so there's a little peek at what's going on here. So armigers already going to have objective secured. That's good and a big incentive to take them. And then if they count as an extra 3 models as well, I don't know how many models they're going to count as already, maybe 5, maybe 1. But counting as an extra 3, making them count as basically like either 4 or probably 8, that makes it a lot stronger. Now, that being said, if at the end of your turn you control less objective markers than you did at the start of your turn, that's actually not that bad. So the pledge is, if at the end of your turn you control more objective markers than your opponent does, you gain 1 honor point. So that's at the end of your turn, not the battle round. So on your turn, you just have to make sure you hold more than 50% of the objectives, or more than 50% of the controlled objectives. So you can either shoot your opponent off of one, you can take the odd man out or one of your opponent's objectives, but you just have to have more. And then whatever happens on your opponent's turn doesn't matter. It's just at the end of your turn. And then for the troth, if at the end of your turn you control less objective markers than you did at the start of your turn, then at the end of the battle round you lose 1 honor point. So you look at what you have at the start of your turn. So maybe your opponent shot you off one of the objectives. So you went from having 3 and them having 2 to now they have 3 and you have 2. Well, at the beginning of your turn, you had 2. So at the end of your turn, you can't control less objectives than you did at the start of your turn. So you can't basically move off of one of those and leave it behind. But if you get back up to 3 again, and then again they shoot you off on their turn, and you go back down to 2, that's not going to hurt you at all. So that's actually pretty good. And then gaining an extra command point every turn, and then eventually like objective secured bonuses, could be pretty strong. So next we have honored ability, duty and wisdom at the start of your command phase. The Battleforge command point bonus grants you 1 additional command point. This will typically mean you gain 2. So yeah, that's cool. I mean, you gain 2 at the beginning of your turn. So, the honored ability, I think it said you can get right away. So starting on your first turn, being able to pick up 2 command points, per turn is pretty good. I mean, obviously you're not going to be able to get it on your first turn, but if you get it on the second turn, third turn, fourth turn, fifth turn, you're talking about an extra 4 command points. And then Virtuous ability, duty and honor. This model has the objective secured ability. If a model already has this ability, that model instead counts as 3 additional models when determining control of an objective marker. So the way that it's worded, because it says this model has objective secured ability, some of the knights don't have objective secured, or else it would just have the second line in there, which is, the model counts as an additional 3. So it sounds like the war dogs are going to basically have objective secured already, and then they'll get a bonus from this. So that's pretty cool. And then the 2 remaining oaths: protect those in need and lay low the tyrants. Offer your noble pilots even more codes and rules which to adhere, and their own nasty bonuses for living up to the code Chivalric, and come with their own tasty bonuses. The new Codex Imperial Knights also includes plenty of other ways to gain and exploit your honor points across both match play games and crusade campaigns. How virtuous and pure of heart is your household? So it said you have to pick 2 of these. So there's 4 total. We've seen 2 of them already. So how realistic is it? Well, that maybe there's 1 for shooting also. So there's 1 for combat and 1 for shooting. Because this one, for instance, this is good, but it's kind of tough. Because at the end of each battle round, if 2 or more enemy units have been destroyed by melee attacks, that's going to be tough to complete on the first turn. Because you're going to have to basically charge forward, get into contact, and then melee kill 2 units. Now, knights are pretty quick, so it's not like it's not possible, especially if they have some infiltrators or something. But they can essentially go out of their way to stop you from getting this on your first turn. And then the troth is pretty harsh too. If any Imperial Knight units from your army fall back during a battle round, at the end of the battle round, you lose 1 honor point. So you literally can't purposefully lose combat. You have to stay in combat until they're dead or you're dead. Which takes away a lot of tactics, because then they can basically just tie you up with some junk unit basically on their turn. And if you can't wipe that unit out before your turn, your knight is just tied up in combat. So if you have any shooting, normally with knights, what you would do is you would shoot, charge into combat, fight on your turn, potentially fight on your opponent's turn, and then on your turn, step back out of combat, shoot again, and then, repeat. But you want to use, obviously, the guns and the melee to dish out as much damage as possible. You don't want to just be tied up in combat. Now, you can shoot with a lot of weapons in combat now because you're a vehicle, if you have a Gatling cannon or something, but you're not getting to pick your target. You have to shoot at something that you're in combat with. So potentially you're having to shoot some, less than ideal target. So we'll see how it flushes out. I mean, I like the idea of it. It's cool. I mean, it's pretty minimal bookkeeping. It's not something insane or anything like that. Being able to gain some additional command points and objective secured is definitely good. Didn't get a ton out of this article, but it's definitely a start. See, this army, obviously, you have one dude with a chain cleaver, and then, this thing is kind of melee, but really it's a shooting knight, just kind of a close combat one. So obviously this would not work too great for the combat one. But probably would work good for securing objectives. But these things are rather fragile too, so if you start putting them out there trying to claim objectives in the middle of the field or in your opponent's zone, they're probably not going to last that long. So we'll see. Hopefully the knights get some nice rules. So far seems cool. The chaos one was definitely a little more powerful, kind of preview. But I do like the idea of them having to abide by this is kind of knight as in old school, knight as in virtuous and dutiful and all that good stuff. So for the army's level of honor, so if you start off with 1 point basically, and then the next 3 points you gain, and assuming you could gain 2 per turn, 1 from each of your virtues, or oaths rather, by second, let's say you get 2 extra points on the first turn. You have 3 points now. So then on the second turn, you can basically trigger into the virtuous level. And then once you're virtuous, let me read back at this again. Where are we at? Okay, here we go. So each oath comes with a pledge, a troth, and 2 chivalric abilities. Fulfill your pledges and you'll earn honor points through the battle. You begin with 1 point, giving you access to the honored abilities. But work your way up to 5 or 6 points and your knights will gain powerful virtuous abilities. So these are the pledges and troths. These are the honored ability. Oh, okay. So this is the one you have to work up to. So you basically start with the honored ability. But then the virtuous ability, you reroll advance and charge like second turn or third turn up once you achieve that. And then let's look at the other one. So you start with at the start of your command phase, you get an extra command point, and then you can work your way up to objective secured ability. Or, alright, so that's pretty cool though, because then if your big knights aren't already objective secured, this makes them objective secured, and then maybe they count as 10 if they gain the objective secured ability, and maybe normally your smaller knights count as 5 and already are objective secured, and then if you get this upgrade, then they become 8. So that actually is pretty cool. So they're not quite as strong, obviously, as your big knights, but they're getting up there. And, a lot of monsters now can gain objective secured, like Tyranids and stuff, and they'll count as like 5 models. So it gives you a slight edge up on them. Because they're going to have a bunch of like Gribblies and everything that are objective secured troops or whatever that they can kind of swarm on as well. So that's pretty cool. I like it so far. Definitely a cool little like preview. I wish we got a little bit more out of it. The Chaos one obviously is, a little more exciting. But these aren't really like, it's not really like a 1-for-1 comparison. This is sort of just like an army-wide like bonus you get for sticking to like the chivalric code. But on top of that, you probably have your actual like Hawk Shroud or whatever like army bonus as well, which is a little more similar to like the Chaos. I don't know exactly how they're going to do it, honestly, because you have like your army-wide ability, you have your relics, you have your warlord traits, so you have like quite a few different cool little like abilities and stuff. And we've only seen this, which is kind of an army-wide ability, but it's sort of more like the kind of Dark Eldar, how they have to like build up to their stuff, or Harlequins. This isn't really like Kill Team Harlequins, basically, where you like essentially build into like your bonuses. This isn't really like the same as your warlord traits, your army-wide abilities, or your relics. So interesting, cool, definitely a cool little show right here. Hopefully this isn't a 2,000 point army where everybody's going to be playing knights. I mean, this has got to be a massive army. 6 big knights and 4 little ones. That's crazy. Hopefully that's just somebody showing off their collection, but I guess we'll see in time. Definitely can't wait to see all the knight rules though. One of my main armies was Imperial Knights for a long time. I've said it a couple times before. I used like Scions with Imperial Knights, and they were super fun because you could like deep strike in the Scions, have a little extra support, or take an objective, etc. You could have like a little bit of psychic support if you wanted that. A lot of like cool little abilities you could get out of it. Some kind of like command point farming, or then kind of just fill the gap a little bit, give you a couple extra bodies where you need them, so you don't have to leave like some key knight back on an objective when you want to be up front, or like helping to screen out your knights, or like I said, I would drop in and basically like attack other people's like backline if they didn't screen out like a small little squad of Scions. So very fun. I don't know if we're going to be able to mix anymore or how that's going to work with knights. It sounded like there was a little bit of talks about how you could like take knights alongside chaos or demons, maybe like imperial factions as well. I think that's the coolest way to do it, so it gives them some options. I know some people don't like the idea of mixing because it's not fair that other armies are limited, by mixing. But we'll see how it works out. They did kind of mention in here. Where was it at? I can't remember where it was at. Maybe in the first part here. How can I wear? I thought it said something about if everybody was taken from the same household. I can't remember where it was. For a true sign of a night world, victory only matters if the code is upheld, even against the treacherous dread households. If every unit in your army has the Imperial Knights keyword, and they are all from the same household, or free blades, then when building your army you must swear 2 different oaths, chosen from a pool of 4. So, I don't know, maybe that kind of leaves it open that you would lose the oaths if you mix in other units, but that there's potential for it, or if you took multiple different households. So we'll have to see, but pretty cool. Let me know what you think down below. Always like to hear from you guys. Are you excited for Knights? Do you feel like the power creep is just going to be crazy? I think they'll probably be okay. Might take a little time to balance them, but I have a feeling they'll be fun, but not too crazy. In a game like we have now, where objectives are everything, and completing, I mean, it's going to be tough for like these to complete actions unless they have special abilities where they can like move, still shoot, and complete an action, which is viable depending on what, maybe that'll be one of like the household traits. It's going to be tough to complete actions with a limited number of models like this, or secure objectives without special cool abilities. So I do expect some of that to come. So let me know what you think. I always like to hear from you guys, but going to go ahead and wrap it up there. Which one so far is more exciting? I think I know the answer. Is it the Chaos Knights? Is it the Imperial Knights? Are you excited for the Chaos Knights box set? Why aren't the Imperial Knights getting a box set? Does everybody just have too many Imperial Knights? They don't think it'll sell? I don't know. You let me know. But that's it for today. If you enjoy the Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team Necromunda Age of Sigmar Warcry, and then of course some Horus Heresy, some Underworld, some D&D, pretty much any kind of tabletop wargaming, content, videos, reactions, reviews, anything pretty much from painting, modeling, conversion tutorials to us showing off the commissions as we complete them and they go out of the studio. Make sure to like and subscribe. It's a free way to support the channel, and I definitely appreciate it. But that's it for today, Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and I'm out of here.